Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it's time for the Q&A, so let's go ahead and knock this out. All right, first question. I started lifting 4 months ago and have stretch marks on my shoulder slash bicep area. They look nasty and red. Will they go away? Because at this point I'm scared to even wear a tank top. You know what? I'm going to be honest, man. I don't have sympathy for you. I've been morbidly obese a couple times in my life. I have stretch marks all over my body. You know what? Doesn't matter. Like having stretch marks on your body will never prevent you from having sex with a woman. Like you will never meet a woman who gets your shirt off and goes, "Oh, I'm not going to sleep with you." Can't do it because of those stretch marks, right? Never going to happen. There's like no possibility that's going to happen. Like 1 in a million. Hell, it won't even stop you from competing in something like bodybuilding. It won't stop you from being a model, like a fitness model. Like, why are you worried about a few stretch marks? Like, if that's the biggest thing that you have to worry about with your physique, then that's awesome. Like, seriously, if that is the biggest problem you have, that you are actually worried about stretch marks, then you are so far ahead of the curve that you literally don't have anything to worry about. I'm going to say you probably have some major insecurity issues you need to work on, man. You need to work on your self-esteem. You need to work on some internal housekeeping if you're literally worried about some stretch marks, right? Because if that's the most imperfect thing about your body, you're easily in the top 1%, right? You're good to go, man. You don't need to worry at all. Are they permanent? Yes. You're going to have them until the day that you die. And probably for about a week after you're dead, too, until kind of your skin breaks down or whatever. You're going to have them forever. Live with it. Live with it. It's just life, man. It's some battle scars. Not a big deal, brother. There is literally nothing you can do about it. That's it. You have them for life. They're going to be less red later, though. They're going to be more scarry colored. All right, next question. I'm prepping for a meet and am about 5 weeks out. My last training session, when pulling deadlifts on a deadlift bar to get a feel for it, I ripped my hands all up. Since my hook grip is pretty solid and I've never missed a lift due to grip and training with it, should I use strap for the next couple weeks or refrain from pulling at all, which I really don't want to do? What other recommendations do you have for managing hand health? You're screwed. You're completely screwed. In other words, you haven't really pulled on a deadlift bar. You got on a real deadlift bar like you're going to do in comp and you tore your hands. You're not going to make it through the meet. Yeah, you need to keep pulling. But if you can't pull on a deadlift bar without ripping your hands aren't tough enough to compete in powerlifting. You need to go work on toughening your hands up. Here's what I would say. I guess heal your hands up, put Neosporin and all of it, wrap them up at night, work on pulling light, and expect that you're going to get one pull in comp. So you better pick a weight that you know you can rep for 5 or 6 reps, and that's going to be your only deadlift at your meet. It's going to be your first meet, I assume. Go in and pull that light weight. Go ahead and crush your squat, crush your bench. And if you can deadlift, I don't know, 500 for 5 or 6 reps, do a 490 or a 500 for your opener and walk away from the meet. Lesson learned, go back and toughen your hands up. You're not really prepared to compete if you can't handle a deadlift bar, man. Now, is that something you can do in a pretty short period of time? Yeah. You know what? 2 or 3 months of working at it, you can have your hands tough enough to compete, right? You're just going to have to toughen them up. You're going to have to do more raw pulling, use really coarse bars, sort all this stuff out. Take good care of your hands. Learn how to sand your calluses, keep them in good shape. Again, Neosporin and any minor tears or cuts, and then wrapping them overnight works wonders. But you're going to need to prepare your hands. You need to prepare your hands for this. But, this is sort of rookie mistakes people make, who are still new to really serious training or something like powerlifting, and that's okay. Lesson learned, just be ready that you're probably going to tear your hands again at this first meet. So just be ready to deadlift light and accept your opener as possibly your only deadlift and complete the meet without bombing out. That's what I would recommend to you. All right, next question. Jason, can your training determine whether or not you have a limb or torso dominant physique, or is it just genetics? It's your bone structure. You can't change that with training. For example, I noticed that you have said your arms are a weak point, but your chest and back are good. If you made your arms and shoulders your main priority, could you develop really good arms and 3D shoulders? The natural kind, obviously similar to Kinobody's deltoids. Could you turn your arms and shoulders into your strong suit, assuming you got stronger? Thanks. No, man. I'm going to have, unless I just quit training my chest and back, is that what you're saying? But then how would I would cause less arm development because I wouldn't have those big compound movements. No, this whole thing, I don't know that it's dominance. We're just talking about structure, right? I don't have good bicep insertions. I have really long arms. I have long forearms particularly. They're above average length. And I have a really big rib cage. So things like my chest and back just have so much room to grow. They're going to grow easier. And my arms, even when my arms measure big, they look smaller than they are in proportion because one, I have a really thick chest. And two, I have longer arms. So an 18-inch arm on me is going to look like a 16-inch arm on someone else until we stand side by side. And then they realize, oh, his arm actually is whatever size. But it's just because the illusion of proportions. That's all it is. That's why I tell guys that this whole bodybuilding thing is all genetics. That's why I'm not a big fan of it. One of the many reasons, you're going to have your structure that you can work with. Just do the best that you can and don't worry about the whole competitive bodybuilding world and what those guys do. You know, you're going to have to focus if you want to be proportionate on different things. But, you know, in all honesty, as far as changing that, are you going to change your bone structure with your training? Are you going to make your arms shorter so that they're going to look bigger in proportion? Of course not. Of course not. Are you going to magically make your rib cage smaller to make your arms look bigger? Of course not. And if you quit training those things, how do you think you look? What happens if you quit training your chest when you have a big rib cage? Your chest will look big from the side, but you won't have any thickness from the front. Again, don't worry about this silly ass physique stuff, guys. It's going to do nothing but cause you to be self-conscious. It's going to cause you to mess up your training. It's not going to be ideal for your fitness. It's not going to be ideal for your self-esteem, your health, any of that. Get in and train. Do the best that you can. And sure, if you want to worry about some weak points, train them a little bit, you know, for those of you who want to look a little more aesthetic. But, you know, most of that's just going to come from carrying muscle and getting lean. That's for most of you all you're ever going to be able to do to sort that out. And if you're not going to compete in men's physique or bodybuilding, it really isn't a big deal. Don't worry about it. It's not the end of the world. Who cares? But if you think you're going to change your bone structure, and I don't know where you got this dominance thing. I don't torso dominant. I'm not familiar with those terms. But ultimately, what you're just talking about is how you're going to look in certain proportions based on bone structure. What I would say, I mean, if you have a really small rib cage and really narrow shoulders, for example, though, which is the opposite of me, you're probably going to want to do a ton of delt work. But by that same token, you're going to want a ton of chest work too, because your chest is always going to look small. And you see those lighter frame guys like that, and they oftentimes look like they have bigger arms because, you know, their arms grow better in proportion to their torso because they have a narrow torso and a narrow chest, so their arms just look bigger if they get any arm development. But you got to remember, at the end of the day, it's just that the smaller a frame is in any given area, the less muscle mass potential it holds. So I don't think it's about dominance. It's just about frame size, right? Just about frame size and arm lengths and leg lengths and things like that. But again, it's not a big deal. If you're not going to go compete in bodybuilding or men's physique, it honestly isn't that big of a deal. It really isn't. Work within your genetic gifts and limitations and just be happy. Train your ass off. All right, next question. Hey, Jason, I'm currently on paternity leave from work. I'm taking a break from the gym till things are settled. I'm going to recommend you don't do that. What advice would you give as regards to losing as little strength/muscle as possible? Keep calories at maintenance and protein at normal. Also, I don't have any home equipment. Should I do basic bodyweight stuff, push-ups, dips on chairs, etc.? Thanks, coach. Yeah, do bodyweight stuff at home every day. Get yourself a pull-up bar so you can do pull-ups, do push-ups. Put your toes up on the arm of your couch so you can do incline push-ups with more weight. Bodyweight dips, bodyweight squats. Squat the baby. Put the baby in a backpack and squat it, you know. I'm almost being facetious with that point, but do that. And you need to get your ass to the gym once a week. Yes, I understand you're going to be a new father. There's a lot going on there. But you need to get in the gym and get under a heavy barbell at least once a week to help maintain. That's what I'm going to recommend. You can find an hour once a week to get to the gym. You can squeeze in one workout a week, get into a nice full body session, do body weight stuff at home. Do not take a month or two off from the gym if you have any option otherwise. Don't do it. I don't care what your motivations are. It will hurt your health. It'll hurt your fitness. It'll hurt your adherence to your overall fitness lifestyle. You can find an hour once a week to get under a barbell to maintain what you have. Even with a newborn baby, your biggest issue is going to be getting enough sleep. That's where your hardest part's going to be. Getting enough sleep with that crying new baby. That's going to be the tough part. So get those naps in whenever you can. Also, when baby's sleeping, you need to sleep, right? Baby take a nap, you take a nap. And do some dips afterwards. You need to get to the gym once a week. I don't care what you think's going on. You need to find an hour to get to the gym. Just for maintenance, and then do body weight stuff at home. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time in part 2.